Good Lord, it's cold outside. Good evening, everyone. Or, I don't know, good morning, good day, whatever time it is where you are. But when I'm filming this, it is later in the evening and it's freezing outside. Of course, I am in a light jacket, so that doesn't help. Anyway, it's good to see everyone tonight. I want to talk to you today about training. Training as far as why is it important? What kind of training do you need to do? Just my thoughts on different types of training. I believe in any training from a qualified instructor, a reputable instructor, is good. I wouldn't want to talk about, hey, Bobo is in front of me. Hi, Bobo. He was also at training this evening. I don't want to go to training for something that somebody is not accredited or experienced to a level that I'm comfortable with, that I think they're competent. For instance, I would not want to go to a first aid class from someone who, number one, has no affiliation to anything, and or has no experience. Now, experience is of course a culmination of many things. To be experienced in the medical field means that you have education behind you, both in classes and seminars and, you know, however you want to call your training sessions, but you have them under your belt. And then hopefully at least a little bit of time as in the world, in a hospital, in the field, on an ambulance, in a clinic, doing hands-on, learning and practicing first aid and medical skills. Same thing with firearms training. I want to be confident that where I go for my firearms training is somebody who knows what they're doing. And that can be difficult. And sometimes when you go to a class, you don't find out you think this person doesn't know what they're doing until you're in the class and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know very much, or I'm at this level of training and this guy is nowhere near my level of training. It happens all the time. So you've got to be careful. There are also people that do not teach for organizations, or they don't teach certain styles, or they've created their own. That does not mean that their training is garbage because it doesn't have a big certification that comes with it. Far from it. That's some of the best training. And your opinion and my opinion on the quality of a training class and the skills and knowledge are going to be different. We're going to have different feelings based on what we already know and have experienced. For most people, when they go to a first aid class, let's just say a basic first aid class, if I go to that class with most people, I'm going to look at it very differently than someone who's learning basic first aid, because I've done basic first aid for a long time. I've got lots of classes and lots of years of experience doing, field first aid, and so I'm more comfortable with it. I've learned different ways. I know things that are above and or different that I from my experience. And so a class that was like, it was all right, to me, maybe the best medical class somebody else has ever had. On the flip side, I am not a security person. I can't look at a piece of ground and go, okay, this is where we want to set up our OPLP. This is where we want to do, this is where we're going to put the patrol or watching that, and this is where we're going to position this for safety. I don't know that very well. And so if I go to a very basic class for that, I may go through brain overload, but yet somebody who was in special forces or, has done contracting or government work or however they were involved in things, they needed to secure things, they may look and go, okay, well, this is absolutely the basic class. You have to learn so much more to make these basic principles work. And so they may not be impressed. Hopefully I've chosen a training class that is not one that would make that person go, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they're teaching this. That's my goal, is to never go to an oh my gosh class. Certainly, I don't ever want to teach others skills that I think are oh my gosh, or that they might. And that just comes from training. Some of the things that I share with other people, I don't call classes, I call discussions, because there are always people in my classes that know more than me, that are more experienced in a field than me, and that should be the ones sharing with the class. They just don't have the desire to step up and do that, and I don't mind. So when I have a class is different than when I have a discussion, in my mind. To some people that I may be being silly, but in my mind there's a difference between a discussion and a class. I almost out loud talked about punctuation like I'm sending a voice text. You guys need to find training, and the trainings that I suggest that you start with are relatively easy to get to. Some of them have costs. My suggestion is you need to do a first aid class. I like American Heart Association Heart Saver First Aid. I like Red Cross First Aid. I really like Red Cross First Aid for the professional rescuer. I also think everyone needs to take a CPR class. And if you're capable of studying a little bit and willing to work a little bit harder, they have BLS classes, basic life support classes, which are CPR on the bonus plan. You learn CPR skills, but you learn some advanced CPR skills as well. Those classes are longer and harder and usually more expensive. So if you're new to CPR or new to doing medical type classes, don't hesitate to start with basic CPR and see if you like it, see if you understand things, and see if you understand it well enough to learn more on that subject. But basic CPR, basic first aid, I think everybody needs that's older than the age of 8. And there's no age limits. Whether you can do compressions on the floor or not, the knowledge is there. You can direct somebody to do it. Somebody who doesn't know how to do it, you can look with them with confidence and tell them what to do, and they will do it. I think everybody needs a basic pistol class, a basic rifle class, basic firearms training. And I'm not talking about your concealed carry class, because that's important. Those laws are important. The restrictions and things you can do are important. I'm certainly not saying that I'm not a supporter of concealed carry, because it is currently the law of the land where I live. and I'm going to obey the law of the land. Yes, I believe lots of constitutional things and constitutional carry. That's a different video. That's a Patreon video, not a YouTube video. But I think you need to have basic firearms training in a class where you're putting rounds downrange at more than just paper. You're shooting and moving. You're getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you're moving. Concealed carry class is just punch and paper, and to me that doesn't lead to a lot of competency. Though punch and paper is important, it builds confidence and fundamentals, and then you can move from there. And then I think you need to take a food storage class, be it a canning class, or go somewhere where they're storing food, or discussion groups, somewhere that you can learn how to store food, more so than just buying a case of green beans and putting it in the cabinet. So that's what I think you need to do. Basic first aid, basic CPR, basic firearm, and then basic food storage. Those are very important classes. I encourage you to do them, to get out there and learn something so you can be ready. Let's be ready.